Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. In this video, we are going to discuss the compensator design. So let's consider the system that is shown in front of you. The transfer function of the system is this one, 3 by s plus 1 into s plus 3. And this is the controller that we are going to design to get certain required specifications. So for the time being, let us suppose that our controller is a proportional controller, so its transfer function will be equal to simply k. So by adjusting the gain k, we will be obtaining the required specifications. This system is the unity feedback system. Here h of s is equal to 1. So the feed forward transfer function is this one, and the feedback transfer function is 1. So using this, you can write down the closed loop transfer function relating R of s with the C of s. So this is the closed loop transfer function, and this can be simplified and can be written like this. Okay, let's suppose that we are going to design the system for 8% overshoot. So we can find out the damping factor for 8% overshoot. For this, we can use this expression that zeta is equal to minus log of percentage overshoot divided by pi square plus log of percentage overshoot and the square of that. So we know that we are designing for the 8% overshoot, so we will be considering this 0.08 over here. So if we simplify, the zeta will be equal to 0.63. So if we set the zeta is equal to 0.63, there will be 8% overshoot in the response of this system because it's a second order system. Here you can see its closed loop transfer function is second order. So if we set zeta is equal to 0.63, the overshoot in this system will be equal to 8%. Okay, now looking at the overshoot and the zeta, we can find out the position of the closed loop poles, right? And that comes out to be minus 2 plus minus 2.48j, right? So here you can see at the root locus of this system is sketched with the help of the MATLAB. Here you can see one pole that is at s is equal to minus 1, and the other pole is at s is equal to minus 3. So when the k is equal to 0, this is the position of the poles, but as the gain k is increased, this pole moves like this and then moves along this SM2 towards the 0, which is sitting at the infinity. And similarly, these poles move like this and moves towards the 0, which is sitting at the infinity. Okay, so in the last video we have seen that we can draw the zeta lines. So first of all, we are going to draw this zeta line, that is zeta is equal to 0.63, because that is our required damping ratio that you can see over here, right? So we will be sketching this line at certain angle alpha, that is equal to cos inverse of zeta. So if we sketch this line, this is going to intersect our root locus at this point. So these are the desired closed loop poles, so that we get this damping factor that is equal to 0.63, right? So now these closed loop poles are at the root locus, so we can get it with the help of adjustment of the gain k, because these are the poles at the root locus. So when we will change the gain k, these poles will move like this. This pole will move like this, and this pole will move like this. Okay, so by gain adjustment, we can get the desired position of the closed loop poles. So this intersection is at this point minus 2 plus minus 2.48j. Okay, now what should be the gain? So we know that the gain can be calculated with the help of the magnitude condition. We have already discussed the magnitude condition while we were discussing the root locus. So if the poles are at the root locus, then the angle condition will be sufficient. G of s into h of s, the angle of that one should be equal to plus minus 182 cube plus 1, that is an odd multiple of the 180, plus minus 180. If this condition is satisfied, it means that pole is at the root locus. And what will be the gain? That can be obtained by the magnitude condition. So g of s into h of s, that should be equal to 1, because we know that the characteristic equation is this one, 1 plus gs into h of s, that is equal to 0. So from here we get that g of s into h of s, that should be equal to minus 1, or in terms of magnitude, g of s h of s should be equal to 1. So we have the open loop transfer function that will be equal to, this is k, so 3k divided by s plus 1 into s plus 3. So we can use that expression over here and setting it equal to 1. Now simplifying it at the desired pole position. So desired pole position is this one, right? So we will take this value and we will place it over here, and we will take the magnitude. So if we simplify this one, so we can get the value of the k, and that comes out to be 2.38. So if our gain is equal to 2.38, then these poles will be at the desired position. This pole will move over here and this pole will move over here. So our system response will be the desired one. That is, the zeta is equal to 0.63, and the overshoot at that point will be nearly equal to 8%, because we have calculated the zeta for the required overshoot, that is this one, right? So we can tune this controller, this proportional controller, we can set this gain k according to the given specifications. So we can get the required response. Now let's look at the step response of this system. The step input that is applied, that is this one. So the obtained step response is this one. You can get it using this step command in the MATLAB. Step command is applied over the transfer function, so you can get the step response. Okay, now let's calculate the steady state error. So for that we are going to calculate the position, static position error constant. So that is defined as limit s is approaching to 0 applied over the open loop transfer function. So our open loop transfer function is this one. So if we apply this limit, so this will become 0. So 3k divided by 3 you will get equal to k. So our static position error is equal to k, where k is the gain, right? And the steady state error for the step input is given by this expression. So this kp is replaced with the k, and we have seen that we are going to adjust the k equal to 2.38. So that is nearly equal to 2.4. So taking it equal to 2.4 and evaluating the steady state error, that comes out to be 29.4%, and that you can observe in this graph, in this step response. Here you can see the steady state error is 0.294, that means 29.4%. So our overshoot is 8%, that is this one, this is 8%, and the steady state error is quite high, that is 29.4%. Let's suppose that we want to have the steady state error of 2%. So what we can do, we can calculate the gain k using the same expression that we have seen over here. Here you can see the steady state error is equal to 1 over 1 plus kp, or that is equal to 1 over 1 plus k. So using this I can say that if I want 2% error, I will keep it at equal to 0.02, and I can calculate the gain k. So gain k comes out to be 49. So if we set the gain equal to 49, the response of our system will be improved, and there will be only 2% steady state error, right? So now let's look at the step response obtained in the MATLAB for the same function, for the same system. So here you can see that if we change the gain k equal to 49, so our steady state error is reduced to just 2%. But what about this one? your overshoot has increased. So overshoot is calculated to be 59.2%, that is quite high. So transient response is degraded. Transient response means your overshoot, your peak time, your rise time, your settling time, your delay time, all of those are the time transient response specifications, right? So if you try to adjust the steady state error and you want to bring it into the range of 2%, your transient response is disturbed. So can we set overshoot and ESS via gain adjustment? Not the both ones simultaneously. You can adjust only one thing at a time, right? So if you will be adjusting the steady state response, steady state error, your transient response will be updated. Or if you control transient response, so you can see the steady state error will be changed, right? So they depend upon each other. By changing the one, the other one will get changed. Okay, so now let's discuss an example in which we will be discussing that how we can control the closed loop pole position to get the desired response. So let's discuss this one. Suppose we want 8% overshoot and we want to now set the settling time equal to 0.85. So what will be the zeta? So zeta will be 0.63, that is calculated by taking this 8% overshoot. So we know that the settling time is given as 3.92 divided by zeta omega n. So zeta omega n will be equal to 3.92 divided by Ts, and Ts is given to us, that is equal to 0.85. So zeta omega n will be equal to 4.6, right? So along the real axis, the position of the closed loop will be at minus 4.6. So that you can observe in this, that this is the desired position of our closed loop poles, so that we get 8% overshoot and our settling time is 0.85 second, right? So this you can observe, this is equal to, at this point s is equal to minus 4.6, right? So this is the position at the real axis. And what about the imaginary axis? At the imaginary axis you can find by sketching it like this. So that is about 6, right? So we require this. And how we are going to get this one? We have basically considered this zeta line, right? So this zeta line is going to give us zeta equal to 0.63. So our closed loop poles must be at this point, or definitely it's a conjugate pair, so they must be at this point. But our root locus is over here, this one, this is our root locus. So these closed loop poles, desired closed loop poles, are not at the root locus. In the previous discussion, they were at the root locus. So how we got the position? By simply adjusting the gain. But now the closed loop poles, desired closed loop poles, are not at the root locus. So what we should do? We will have to move our root locus such that it passes through the desired position, so that our closed loop poles lie at the root locus. So how we can do that? We will have to modify the root locus, and that can be done by adding the dynamics. Means you can add the poles and the zeros in your system as a controller or as a compensator, so that your root locus passes through the desired position. So a combination of a pole and zero is the compensator that will be introduced over here. So if I go back and look at this one, it's no more the simple proportional controller. Rather, with the gain, it will be having a zero and a pole, right? A zero and a pole will be the part of this compensator, so that the root locus of this system passes through the desired position of the poles so that you get desired response, desired specifications, right? So the compensator is basically the addition of poles and zeros in your system so that you get the desired response. So we will see in the upcoming videos that how we can design a compensator. A compensator may be used to control the steady state error, right? So proportional integral PI compensator is used to control the steady state error. It is also called the lag compensator. So we will discuss in detail that how we can set the position of pole and zero so that the steady state error of your system is improved. The second thing is to control the dynamic response. So dynamic response is controlled by providing the proportional derivative compensator, that is also called the lead compensator. And the third type of the compensator is the PID compensator, that is the combination of the lag compensator and the lead compensator, or PI compensator and the PD compensator. So they are combined together to get the desired dynamic response as well as the desired steady state error. Your lag compensator or PI compensator is only for the steady state error. Your PD compensator and the lead compensator is to improve the dynamic response of your system, and the PID compensator helps you to improve the dynamic response and the steady state error. Now you can introduce these compensators in different configuration with your system. So just observe this one. In this diagram you can see that we are going to introduce the compensator in series with the system. This is our system GFS. So we are introducing the compensator in series with that one. So this configuration is said to be the cascade compensation or the series compensation, right? The other configuration that is used for the compensation is this one. In this you can see that this is your system and you are going to introduce the compensator in the feedback path. So there is the negative feedback in with this system so that you are changing the position of poles and zeros and you are bringing them to the desired location to get the desired response. So this type of configuration is the feedback compensation because you have connected your compensator in the feedback. So this one is the series compensation because you have connected your compensator in series. This is the feedback compensation. You can have the combination of these two, a hybrid one in which you can have the combined feedback and the series compensation. Here you can see this one, this compensator is the series compensator and the feedback compensator is this one. Both of them are used to control the position of the closed loop poles such that you get the desired response. So if I summarize the video, what we have done, we have seen that what is the meaning of the compensator and what are different types of compensators and what is the importance of the compensator, right? So with the help of compensator we can adjust the steady state error, we can get the required transient response, and in the next upcoming lectures we will see that how we can design these compensators. That's all from this video. Thank you very much.